Good afternoon. One thing that came up during the latest Black Hills Hang, which I attended, we had plenty of time for show and tell. And one of the things that we discussed or showed were our cook kits. And I've had a couple of requests since then, specifically from Paul at Underground Quilts, thanks for the t-shirt, to show in more detail my cook kit, because I think I've got it down to a pretty small package and a fairly low weight. So that's what I'm going to do. My cook kit basically is a one-person cook kit. I keep it in a little nylon bag, very easy to keep together. I use these containers that you get lemonade, specifically Country Time lemonade, in to eat out of. I don't particularly like to eat out of freezer bags. I find it kind of messy, and I don't really trust the bags all that much for putting water in and then poking around with a spoon or a spork. So I use these containers, which are quite nice. You cut them down. They require that you cut down the lid a little bit because they come to a sort of a conal nature at the top that you can't get anything else in, but if you cut down the threads a little bit, they're perfectly nice. They come in various sizes. This is the 16-ounce size. I use the 24-ounce size for mine. Everything seems to hold very well together in the 24-ounce, and it's more than enough food for me when I'm out on the trail. So I have the 24-ounce size. The top acts as a cup, and I have made a little cozy for it. So in the wintertime, if I want to have some kind of hot drink, I can either have it and use the cup, or as you can see here in a second, I can use the pot. So that's really the outside. The actual cooking pot, or the actual cooking container, or eating container, sorry, goes in a cozy, and I never really take it out of that. So this stays pretty much just like this all the time. This hydrates your food, and you're pretty much ready to go. It's very lightweight, as I said before. The eating container, all total 3.5 ounces. So. That's including the cozy, so very nice. For my main cook kit, I use a Mountain Laurel Designs 475 milliliter cup. This will boil almost 2 cups of water, actually, which is more than enough because generally I keep my meals down to being able to rehydrate with simply 1 cup of water. That gives me more than enough food, I find, after the first couple of days. Again, everybody's different. The first day on the trail, I tend to be ravenous, but from day 2 on, honestly, I lose my appetite to a certain extent, and so just boiling up a cup or a cup and a half of water generally will allow me to rehydrate anywhere between 3 to 4.5 ounces of dry weight food, which is really all I need to fill me up in the evenings. A lot of times when people discuss their cook kits, they don't include everything. It tends to be the pot, it tends to be the cozies, but then you have spoon, then you have how you're going to actually light your heat source. You have all these other accessories that end up adding weight, and I've really tried to distill it down to everything fits inside this container. So besides the Mountain Laurel pot, which I've put some wicking on the top, I also use a lid. This is made by Tinny, and it's the Questionable Mental Health at Mini Bull Design. It's the lid for the Questionable Mental Health pot, but it fits very nicely on the Mountain Laurel Design cup, and then the wicking allows me to hold it. I use this little plastic baggie, almost no weight, but I put the pot inside that, so when I slip it into my eating container to store and to travel, the outside of the pot is not touching the inside of where I eat. So that just is what this baggie is for. I have a GSI foldable spork. I find this to be very nice. I use a spork, other people use a spoon. I know the latest trend is to use a bamboo spoon, which is very nice, aesthetically very pleasing, but generally speaking is going to be taller than I can get in my cooking kit, so I'd have to store it somewhere else. Again, I like to put everything in one place at one time. So the spoon is included in the weight of this kit. Also included in the weight is the little mini Scout flint steel, and this allows me to light my alcohol. And so I don't need to carry matches, I don't need to carry a lighter, and it's good for thousands and thousands of lights. So very easy and very reliable. Windscreen made out of double-walled aluminum foil, just a very thin windscreen, and I use a little paper clip to get the desired circumference that I need, and that's going to be my windscreen. So inside my pot, the stove that I'm currently using, again I'm using another little small baggie just to keep this from touching anything else on the inside since I've burned fuel in it, is a copy of the Mini Bull Design Elite stove. Doesn't matter what kind of alcohol stove you use, from a cat stove to a wick stove. They all are very nice. They all have pros and cons. I like this one because it literally has a built-in pot stand. So in this particular case, the fuel goes in, you light it, wait a couple seconds for it to start to burn on the outside, and then the pot goes directly on top of the stove, and you know we're boiling water. Also in here, I keep a small piece of tin foil as a ground protection. One of my pet peeves has always been that you go to campsites and you see these nasty burn rings on the tables, and you know, if you're hiking in any shelters along the Appalachian Trail, you see the big burn rings in the shelters. I try to avoid that. Try to pretty much practice leave no trace wherever I go. This allows me to have some protection for whatever the stove is setting on. And then also inside is a quarter of a piece of bandana. No reason to have the whole bandana. I just cut the bandana in quarters, and that's plenty good to wipe everything away, or you know, clean up a little bit if something happens. It also gives a little bit of cushioning to the bottom of the pot, so when you stuff everything back in, you're not scratching the titanium that the pot is made of. So that's really the cook kit. As you can see, it goes together, you know, quite easily, quite nicely. I put little air holes around the ring, the windscreen, and I can do everything basically very straightforward and very easily. And then I eat, and inside my pot, inside my little case, and everything goes back together quite nicely. So that's really the whole ball wax. Everything together included, so everything you see here, including the stuff sack, 7.9 ounces, and we're good to go. And again, that includes some things that you don't normally see included, like the flint steel, like your spoon, the bandana, and what have you. So that is that's the extent of my cook kit. Now, the only thing I will add is I think I could cut down on some weight if I had to by replacing the Mountain Laurel Design pot, even though it's titanium, with a beer can stove. And I may try that. This container also comes in not only 16 but 24. It also comes in a 28-ounce size, which I think would be better for a Foster's pot or something along those lines. But if I get a normal type of beer can, I think that will fit in here nicely, and even cut out maybe 1.5 ounces. The heaviest thing right now in my cook kit is the Mini Bull Design lid. This is certainly something that could be replaced with something lighter, and if I go with a beer can, certainly the lid that you'll cut off the top of the beer can will be substantially lighter. So I think honestly I could probably get this down with very little change, other than to my actual heating container, the actual cook pot, down to probably 6.5 ounces total, and that'll kind of be a goal for making it a little bit lighter this fall. So, but this is the set that I think I'm going to take on my through hike in a couple of weeks of the Ozark Trail. I'm planning on hiking 220 miles in 2 weeks in the Ozark Trail, and this is certainly the cooking system that I'm going to take with me. So thanks very much. If you have any comments, please feel free to let me know. But Paul, this is what you were after, so I hope this helps, and give me a buzz if you have any questions. Thanks.